Let's do the after week 3 power rankings, all right? Let's go from 8 to 1. Somebody got to be 8. Somebody got to be 1. So number 8, 0-3, Houston Roughnecks, fall to 0-3. This is a team that has had a punt blocked in every game they played this year. CJ Johnson got to be pulling his hair out, going, how can this keep happening? How can we keep getting blocked and we can't block nobody? This is why you got one of the better defenders in the league in Reuben Foster, right, who's been doing a lot of work there. But Reed Sennett didn't have a step back. Just wasn't great in their last outing. I think that they can get a W, but can they be good enough to compete in that USFL conference? That remains to be seen. Like, I'm just not as high on them as I thought I was going to be, given what their defensive line was when they put it together through the dispersal draft and what was left of the USFL, right? But we'll see. Like, I think not having a guy like they did last year in Mark Thompson is also hurting them. Like, I love TJ Pledger because TJ Pledger was an Army All-American, went to Oklahoma before transferring to Utah, but he's just not the same sort of tailback as what Mark Thompson was for them when he won USFL Offensive Player of the Year. There's a distinction, by the way, for those of y'all that are new. We had an MVP in the USFL and an Offensive Player of the Year in the USFL, and they weren't the same person. That's how good Mark Thompson was, as we talk about what Alex Magoo was doing and made the team as a Green Bay Packer. Also, because the UFL is right there with the NFL, Alex Magoo makes the Green Bay Packers. Danny Etling gets cut, and now he is backing up E.J. Perry with the Michigan Panthers, who we'll talk about here in just a minute. Number 7 on the list, I got the Memphis Showboats, who got shellacked, who got beat down, who got drubbed by the Birmingham Stallions. My goodness. The way that I slot this is Deion Kane had 144 receiving yards. Case Cook has had 139 passing yards. Like, it was bad. Like, it's bad. Case Cook has also got the hook. So much so that on the sideline, John DeFilippo said to him, look, at some point, I got to take care of you too. I got to protect you, which is him saying that the quarterback couldn't protect himself and the offensive line couldn't protect him. So you get Troy Williams out there who wasn't that much worse than Case Cook is. I don't know what that means about the offensive line or even the quarterback play, but I can tell you John DeFilippo was not happy with how his offense played, or his defense for that matter. Like, they allowed 8 sacks in that game, which is a gaudy number. Again, they have the tools to be good. It's just they got to figure out how to protect the quarterback. Protect the quarterback, you're in business there, because that wide receiver group and tight ends are just good. Like, Jay Adams is a dude. Say Surratt is a dude. Case Cook is a dude. You just got to give him time to throw. Number 6 on the list, the Arlington Renegades, who are 0-3, but have shown themselves to be offensively one of the best in this league. Like, Luis Perez threw for 290 yards. Tyler Vaughn's caught 9 balls for 109 yards and a TD. Like, they were putting up yards. They had 419 total yards in that game, but the defense has just been bad, guys. Like, they lost this game 29-28 to the DC Defenders, but it's also yet another game in which they gave up 20 or more. Like, J.A.'s got to figure out what's going on with his defense, and I thought it was going to be pretty damn good because Jalen Redmond at Oklahoma, remember him? Donald Payne, linebacker out of Stetson. But here's the thing about Donald Payne. 2022, USFL plays 10 games. Donald Payne had over 100 tackles. He had 100 tackles in 10 games. He is a tackling machine, and yet it can't get done over there with the Renegades to stop people from scoring. And I'm sure Bob Stoops, who is a defensive-minded coach, is just absolutely beside himself with this, but they still got a shot. I mean, this is the team that went 4-7 last year and won the XFL championship, right? So we'll see. But Luis Perez has been one of the better players in this league. Number 5, I got the DC Defenders, who got the win against the Renegades, but also moved to 2-1, right? Got off to a slow start with that loss to San Antonio Brahmas, but since then, we've seen Reggie Barlow's team be what Reggie Barlow's team could be, particularly with Jordan Ta'amu at quarterback and Greg Williams calling the defense. I think being able to come back from 10 points behind with 2 minutes left to play, yeah, all right, that means you know how to win. Now, if they can ever get their run game to catch up with their passing game, they might also be that team that represents in the championship game St. Louis, later this year. However, they got to get past teams like San Antonio Brahmas. And the Brahmas are number 4 for me. They weren't able to do this, but it seems a little bit more fluky when you think about Brad Wing throw into a center to score a touchdown. Like, that's just not going to happen every single week. That said, Chase Garbers has been playing really great football. Like, he still has the best TD to INT ratio of any quarterback in the league at 6-1. Takes tremendous care of the football. They just aren't always able to run it. And I think they're trying to draw things up for Cody Latimer, so much so that when you listen to the broadcast, you can hear them calling Denver for the option route for him, right? Denver is where he won a Super Bowl, right? Cody Lattimore. And then you got guys like Jontre Kirkland, who is a do-everything type of wide receiver, played some quarterback at LSU and didn't have nobody play quarterback at LSU. Really fun dude to watch play ball. They're moved to 2-1, but I still think that's a really good football team. Number 3, the St. Louis Battlehawks for me. I think that the Battlehawks have the best home field advantage in the sport. I mean, you get 40,000 people to show up for a spring football game. I would really love to know what the promotion is, right? Because those folks just decided that they're going to make this team their team. Now, St. Louis is also working from a tremendous advantage. Like, one of the things I find interesting about this is St. Louis had a professional football team for the better part of 100 years, right? 1934, I believe they got their first professional football team, and they had one, right? All the way up until St. Louis decided to up and move to LA, and that appetite is still very much there, especially as you're having to watch Kansas City be Kansas City, and you feel some kind of way about that if you are a Battlehawks fan. And Anthony Becht has been really leaning into that. And they got a first-team All-American at quarterback and former national champion, even if he was back up on the national championship team, and A.J. McCarron, right? A dude that can hand the ball around to some guys that can make some plays. Hakeem Butler, matchup nightmare. Wasn't a matchup nightmare at Iowa State. 6'6", 250, you know? And then if you can run the ball with guys like Mateo Durant, you're going to have a shot to win some games here. And they move to 2-1. I think defensively, they get Mike Rose back. Maybe they'll be pretty stout and make yet another run toward the XFL division, and maybe even be able to host the championship game at the Battle Dome, which feels like a foregone conclusion if they are in that thing. That thing's just going to be raucous. Number 2, I got the Michigan Panthers, who have played the most complete football game, individual football game, that any team I've seen not named the Birmingham Stallions. Like, E.J. Perry started to resemble the guy that we were talking about coming out of Brown in the NFL draft when he was eligible for it. He also was able to get some time back there. He got sacked 7 times by the Birmingham Stallions the week before. He was only hurried 3 times in their win last week. They win 34-20, which makes them the team that has scored the most points of any team in any individual game in the UFL so far this season. All of a sudden, we didn't have anybody break 30, and we had 3 teams break 30 in week 3. So the offenses are beginning to figure this thing out. He was also 16-19 for 208 with 60 yards rushing. I think that Mike Nolan's defense is as good as it's going to be, which still is stout, right? But if that offense can begin to run the football well with guys like Wes Hills in the backfield, and then E.J. Perry doing the QB draw thing, they got a shot to make some noise in the USFL conference. That said, number 1 is still number 1. I mean, it's Birmingham Stallions. I mean, I've been on the Birmingham Stallions since I started covering this league at its formation, January 2022, and then at the draft in Birmingham at Protective Stadium, February 2022. And what Skip Holtz has been able to do, given the environment around spring football and how transient the sport is, because you got guys that are coming up, going down, so forth, so on. It's remarkable. Between him, Zach Potter, their general manager, John Chavis, defensive coordinator, just outstanding what he has done with quarterbacks, right? You had Alex Magoo and Jamar Smith win 2 championships this year. Jamar Smith gets to be the 3rd string guy who's helping Matt Corral and Adrian Martinez get up to speed. But then you give Adrian Martinez his first professional football start, and he responds with the first 300-yard passing performance in UFL history and put up 344 total passing yards, 13-38. Also, quietly leads the UFL in rushing yards too with 161, and he only started week 3, right? That Skip could go back and forth between those guys and still get these results is remarkable. Like, both Matt Corral and Adrian Martinez, what a play. He said they both deserve to play. And it'd be interesting to see whether or not he settles on Adrian Martinez or Matt Corral further in the season, because that's usually what Skip does. When he gets closer to the end of the season, when they got to start preparing to play for championships, there's usually one guy that you can count on being back there. But the real leap has been the defense. Like, John Chavis' defense the last couple of years has been bend, don't break, which is a great way to make it through spring football, quite honestly, because you're still figuring it out and you're so thin on your roster. But this year, their defensive line has been ridiculous. Like, they got 17 sacks through 3 games, 15 in the last 2 weeks. So much so that, like, Skip Holtz was getting after his offensive line coach in camp practice going, can we not block anybody? Like, what the hell is this? And he wasn't sure if the offensive line was really bad and defensive line was really good. And in the post game, he says, I think our defensive line has a chance to be pretty good. Yeah, they do. Carlo Davis, Taco Charlton, those guys have been coming along. Then you got Kayaba Tizino, who was the best linebacker nobody talked about last year with the Pittsburgh Maulers, joining Scooby Wright, JoJo Tillery in the backfield. CJ Marable is also a third-year player for them. Like, Birmingham is the dream if you are a spring football fan or interested in supporting a spring football team. I wouldn't be mad about it at all. I'm sure Skip Holtz wouldn't hold a grudge neither.
If you like what you've seen, consider subscribing to the #1 college football show on YouTube, the Fox Sports app, or wherever you get your podcast.